I stood there, gripping my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. The screen was still open, text after text, picture after picture. 9 men. 9 different guys. Some of them sending her money. Some of them talking about their secret getaways. Some of them thanking her for the unforgettable night. But the part that made my blood run cold? One of them just sent a message, "Did you get tested yet?" My heart pounded in my chest as I scrolled up. And then I saw it, one of her lovers had caught something. Something nasty. And Jessica, my wife, knew about it. She knew and she never told me. My stomach turned. My hands were shaking. I looked over at the bedroom door. She was inside, probably sleeping like a baby, completely unaware that her entire world was about to come crashing down. How the hell did I end up here? This wasn't just some one-time mistake. This wasn't just an affair. This was a web of lies, betrayal so deep I could barely breathe. I clenched my jaw, exhaled sharply, and walked towards the bedroom. "Jessica," I said, my voice like ice. "Wake up." She groaned, rolling onto her side, her blonde hair a tangled mess against the pillow. "What?" she mumbled, her voice thick with sleep. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, phone in my hand, watching as she rubbed her eyes and sat up. "Why are you just standing there like some psycho?" she scoffed, pulling the blanket up over her chest. I held up the phone. The messages were still on the screen. I didn't say a word. I just watched her face. The second she focused on the screen, I saw it. That half second of pure panic before she masked it with a smirk. "You seriously went through my phone? Wow, that's pathetic." I let out a sharp laugh. Not a real one. The kind that comes out when you're so furious you don't even know how to react. "Jessica, don't even try to flip this on me." 9 men? Are you kidding me? She rolled her eyes, stretching her arms over her head like I had just accused her of forgetting to take out the trash. "First of all, it's none of your business what I do when you're not paying attention. Second, you're acting like I killed someone. People cheat. Get over it." I could feel my pulse in my throat. "People cheat? 9 different guys? And you knew one of them had an infection?" I took a step forward, my jaw tightening. "And you never said a damn thing to me?" Her smirk faltered for a second, but then she shrugged. "Well, if you weren't so boring, maybe I wouldn't have needed them." That did it. I slammed my phone onto the nightstand so hard it bounced onto the floor. "You absolute," I stopped myself, taking a deep breath. "You know what? Forget it. You're disgusting." She yawned. Actually yawned. "Oh my God, are you done? Because I have plans tomorrow and I'd love to get some sleep." I stared at her, waiting for something, remorse, guilt, fear, anything. But there was nothing. Just pure, unfiltered arrogance. And then her phone lit up. We both looked at it at the same time. A message from an unknown number, "Can't stop thinking about last night. Same time tomorrow." My fists clenched. She smirked again, picked up the phone, and replied right in front of me. "Yeah, sure. Usual place." She set the phone down and looked me dead in the eye. "You gonna cry now?" Something inside me snapped. I didn't even feel like I was in my own body anymore. My hands tingled, my breath felt too shallow, my vision sharpened like I was seeing her for the first time, the real her. And she just sat there, legs crossed, like she hadn't just shattered everything we built. Like it was a joke. Like I was a joke. I took a slow step back, shaking my head. "You really don't care, do you?" She exhaled loudly, rolling her eyes. "No, Ethan, I don't." "You're acting like some dramatic teenage girl. It's just cheating. It happens all the time." I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. "You gave me some guys leftovers," I said, my voice shaking. 9 guys, Jessica. 9. And one of them had something serious. "You didn't think maybe I deserved to know?" She shrugged, leaning back on the bed like she couldn't be bothered. "I didn't get anything, so relax. You always overreact. It's probably nothing." I ran a hand down my face, trying to breathe. "You didn't get tested, did you?" She smirked. I turned on my heel, grabbed my car keys off the dresser, and started toward the door. "Where do you think you're going?" she called out, laughing. I didn't answer. I slammed the door so hard the walls shook. The cold night air hit me like a slap as I stepped outside. My hands were still trembling, my stomach twisted into knots. I climbed into my car, gripping the steering wheel so tight my fingers ached. I needed answers. Now. The drive to the clinic was a blur. My mind raced, replaying every touch, every kiss, every night she climbed into bed next to me after being with them. The waiting room was almost empty. A bored-looking receptionist glanced up from her computer. "Need a walk-in appointment?" "Yeah," I said, my throat dry. "Full panel." She nodded, typing something into the system. "You think you were exposed?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know." 15 minutes later, I sat in a sterile room while a nurse drew my blood. "Results take a few days," she said, giving me a sympathetic look. "Try not to stress too much, okay?" I nodded, but my stomach told me otherwise. I drove aimlessly after that, the streetlights blurring past me. 9 men. And not one of them knew. Not until it was too late. And if Jessica wasn't careful, there would be more. I pulled up to the house, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the front door like it was the entrance to hell. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to turn around, drive anywhere but here. But I couldn't. Not yet. Inside, the lights were still on. She hadn't gone to bed. Of course not. She was probably still on her phone, making plans with her next guy, completely unfazed by what just happened. I stepped inside, slamming the door behind me. She was sprawled out on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. She didn't even look up. That was fast, she muttered, smirking. Let me guess. You went for a little drive to cool off? Or maybe you went crying to one of your little friends. I didn't answer. I walked straight past her, into the kitchen, grabbing a glass of water just to have something to do with my hands. I didn't trust myself right now. She sighed dramatically. Oh my God, Ethan, are you seriously still mad? You're acting like I burned the house down. I turned to face her, gripping the edge of the counter. You think this is funny? She finally put her phone down, tilting her head. I think you're funny. You're acting like some victim. You want to know what's actually sad? You were so boring that I had to go find someone who actually knows how to keep things exciting. I stared at her, breathing hard. You didn't just find one person, Jessica. You found 9. 9 guys. 9 strangers. And you knew one of them had something and you still a. She threw her hands up. Oh my God, you're obsessed with the number. Who cares? It could have been 20 and nothing would change. You think you're some saint? Please. I did what I did and I don't regret it. You were never enough for me, Ethan. I settled. Something inside me went completely silent. Not anger. Not pain. Just nothing. I set my glass down carefully. Got it, I said, nodding slowly. She squinted at me like she was expecting me to explode. But I didn't. I walked past her, up the stairs, straight to her bedroom. The closet door creaked open as I grabbed my duffel bag, yanking it off the shelf. I didn't need much. Just enough to get the hell out of here. She stomped up the stairs behind me. What are you doing? I didn't answer. I shoved some clothes into the bag, grabbed my laptop, my charger. My mind was weirdly calm. You're really leaving? She scoffed, crossing her arms. Wow. I thought you'd at least try to fight for me. I zipped the bag and turned to her. Fight for what, Jessica? I gestured around the room. There's nothing left. You burned it all down. You don't love me. Hell, you don't even respect me. And I sure as hell don't want to be around when this whole thing blows up in your face. She rolled her eyes, leaning against the doorframe. Blows up? Ethan, please. I'll be fine. You're acting like I'm the one losing something here. I slung the bag over my shoulder. Yeah, I muttered. We'll see. I walked past her. She didn't move. Just watched like she was waiting for me to back down. But I didn't. I went down the stairs, out the front door, into my car. I didn't look back. I sat in my car for a long time staring at the house. The lights were still on. Jessica was probably back on her phone, scrolling, laughing, moving on like nothing happened. Like I never mattered. I gripped the steering wheel, exhaling slowly. The anger was gone now. All that was left was cold clarity. She wasn't just a liar. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was rotten to the core. And I had been too blind, too trusting, too damn stupid to see it. I started the engine and pulled out of the driveway. Now what? I couldn't go to a hotel forever. I had a job, responsibilities, a life that was built around the illusion of a marriage that was already dead. My mind ran through options. My brother, Jake, lived about 30 minutes away. We weren't super close, but he was solid. He'd understand. I drove in silence, the streetlights passing in blurs. My phone buzzed on the seat next to me. For a second, I thought maybe Jessica had finally realized what she'd done. That she'd call, apologize, break down. I glanced at the screen. It wasn't her. It was a random number. I frowned, picking it up, answering without thinking. Hello? Silence for a second. Then a man's voice. Hey, is this Ethan? I gripped the wheel tighter. Who's asking? The guy hesitated. Then, listen, man. I don't even know how to say this, but I think we need to talk. It's about Jessica. I froze. The voice was shaky, nervous. I could hear guilt dripping from every word. I pulled over to the side of the road, my heartbeat hammering. Who the hell is this? A long sigh. Then, my name's Aaron. And I think I might be one of the guys she's been seeing. Everything around me blurred. I pressed the phone harder to my ear. What did you just say? Aaron cleared his throat. Look, man, I had no idea she was married. She told me she was single. We've been seeing each other for a few months. And then I found out about the others. I confronted her and she just laughed. Said it wasn't my business. But then. He trailed off. But then what? I snapped. A pause. Then his voice dropped lower. One of the other guys reached out to me. He got tested. And he's not clean. My stomach dropped. I just got my results back, Aaron continued. And I got it too. My blood turned to ice. You need to get tested, man, he said. If you haven't already. My hands were numb. I couldn't breathe. I already did, I muttered. Good, Aaron said. But that's not the worst part. I swallowed hard. What could be worse than that? A sharp inhale on the other end. Then he spoke, voice flat. Jessica knew she had it. She's known for months. The world stopped. I felt like I was falling. My vision blurred, my ears rang, my grip on the phone so tight I thought it might snap in half. Aaron kept talking, his voice distant like he was speaking from underwater. She never told anyone, Ethan. She just kept going. Kept lying. When I found out, I asked her why. You know what she said? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Aaron let out a humorless laugh. She said, why should I be the only one suffering? My entire body went numb. The air felt too thick, like I couldn't get enough of it into my lungs. My grip on the phone tightened until my knuckles turned white. She said that. My voice barely sounded like mine. Aaron exhaled sharply. Yeah, man. She didn't even hesitate. Just shrugged like it was no big deal. I ran a hand through my hair, staring at the empty road ahead. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. I knew Jessica was cruel, manipulative, a liar. But this? This was something else entirely. You still there? Aaron asked. Yeah, I muttered, rubbing my temples. Look, I know you don't owe me anything, but I had to tell you, he said. I thought you deserved to know the truth. More than that, I think someone needs to stop her before He didn't need to finish the sentence. I already knew. Jessica wasn't just cheating. She wasn't just lying. She was actively ruining lives. Deliberately. Without a second thought. I gritted my teeth, my jaw aching from how tightly it was clenched. She needs to pay for this, I muttered. Aaron hesitated. I don't know what you're thinking, but listen, man, she's not worth throwing your life away over. I thought about exposing her too, but... He trailed off like he didn't even believe his own words. I stared straight ahead. My mind was already working, already planning. Thanks for telling me, I said, my voice like ice. I hung up before he could respond. For a long time, I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel, my heart pounding against my ribs. I replayed every moment in my head, every time Jessica looked me in the eye and lied, every time she came home late, every time she smirked like she had some secret she'd never tell me. I thought about those 9 guys. I thought about how many more there might be. I thought about what she'd do next if no one stopped her. And then, just like that, I knew what I had to do. I started the engine and turned the car around. I was going back. The drive back felt like a blur, every streetlight flashing past me like the ticking seconds of a countdown. My mind was clear now, no hesitation, no second thoughts. This wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't even just about the 9 guys. Jessica was a disease, spreading destruction wherever she went. And she knew it. By the time I pulled up to the house, my hands weren't even shaking anymore. I killed the engine and stepped out, walking up the driveway with steady, measured steps. Inside, the lights were still on. I pushed open the door without knocking. She was still on the couch, still on her damn phone, legs stretched out like she didn't have a care in the world. She barely looked up. Wow, back already? That was pathetic. I didn't answer. I just walked straight up to her and tossed my phone onto the coffee table. She raised an eyebrow. What's this? Read it. She sighed dramatically and picked it up. A second later, her smirk faltered. She scrolled, her face twisting into something between annoyance and mild concern. Who the hell is Aaron? One of your boyfriends, I said. One of the guys you lied to. One of the guys you infected. Her eyes snapped up to mine. I took a slow step forward, towering over her. I know, Jessica, I said, my voice calm, controlled. I know everything. The lies. The infections. The other guys you didn't even bother to mention. And now they know too. She scoffed, tossing the phone back onto the table. So what? You think that scares me? No, I said, tilting my head. I think this will. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a folded sheet of paper. Slowly, I unfolded it and placed it in front of her. She stared at it, her brow furrowing. What is this? I crossed my arms. Legal documents. I filed for divorce an hour ago. That wiped the smirk off her face. I leaned in. And just so you know, you're about to get sued by multiple men. There are laws about this kind of thing, Jessica. You knew you were sick. You knew and you kept going anyway. You didn't just cheat. You ruin people. And now they're coming for you. She opened her mouth, closed it, then let out a sharp, bitter laugh. You think anyone's going to believe a bunch of pathetic men over me? Please. I'll just say you're all bitter losers trying to ruin my life. I grinned. Good luck with that. Because I made sure this is going public. Her breath hitched. I stepped back, grabbing my keys. Enjoy the attention, Jessica. You always did love being the center of it. I turned on my heel and walked toward the door. She didn't move. Didn't say anything. For the first time since this all started, she looked afraid. I stepped outside, the night air hitting my skin, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free.